and put myself through hell. In that moment, Lucy had seemed totally unaware of the effect she had on all the men at that barbecue. I was leaning against the kitchen counter when she took a swig of that beer, and I took the opportunity to let my eyes roam over her from head to toe. That view of her standing by the fridge, leaning on her right leg a little more than the left, so her hip curved out more on that side, her perfect breasts thrusting against the black fabric of the sweater, was a memory I had replayed over and over in my head many times. That image and my DayZ victory had betrayed me. I wasn't meant to be here. This was not how I spent my Saturdays. I should be at home right now, controller in hand and a beer on the coffee table, and my own bed to sleep in tonight, not a cold, uncomfortable tent. I was going to feel like hell by the time I went back to work on Monday. And up ahead on the steep trail, the three happy wanderers ambled up the mountainside, chatting like this was a stroll in the park. I was huffing and puffing like a steam train. How could I be so out of shape? Mike was loving this, flanked by two girls, while he showed off his physical prowess. Never mind his friend, coming up half a mile behind everyone else, trying to not have a heart attack, but at the same time wishing he were dead. I didn't want them to wait for me. That would mean exerting myself to reach them faster while they watched me. Too embarrassing. Let them get ahead as much as they wanted. They had to stop sometime. Then I would catch up at my own pace. For now, I would just trundle along behind them and wish I was someplace else. When they finally stopped for lunch, I almost lost them. They reached the top of the mountain and disappeared from my sight as I scrambled up after them, driven on by the knowledge that this constant uphill struggle was about to come to an end. As I topped the trail and looked out across the broad rocky area that marked the zenith of this mountain, the three amigos were nowhere to be seen. I let out a breath and a muttered, "Fuck!" Relieved to be on level terrain, but worried that I was lost, I walked forward a few steps and scanned the mist around me. There were dark shapes moving in the grey, figures just out of sight. But they were other hikers, in pairs and in large groups, not the three who had left me on a mountainside. I unzipped the pocket of my jacket and took out my phone. I would have to call Mike to find out where they were. Embarrassing, yes, but not as embarrassing as being airlifted off the mountain by mountain rescue because I had gotten totally lost. There was no signal. This was a joke. Putting the phone away, I considered the other type of calling, actually shouting for them. But the presence of the other hikers, the same ones who had passed me on the way up here and offered sympathetic smiles and nods, stopped me. I didn't want to look like a total loser. So I marched over the rocks and tried to look like I knew exactly where I was going. Right past everyone else and over to the other side of the mountain. At least the next part of this trek was going to be downhill. It seemed pointless, struggling up a mountain just to go back down again. "Alex! Over here!" I halted and looked to my left. Sitting behind a pile of rocks, sheltered from the wind, Mike, Elena and Lucy waved at me. They had filled plastic mugs with steaming coffee from the thermos. It smelled so good, it made my mouth water. I strode over to them, swinging my arms and trying to look strong, as if doing so could make them forget about me lagging behind for the entire morning. "Grab a drink, man. You look beat." Mike passed me a mug and poured coffee into it. The breeze blew the steam into my face. Looking at Elena and Lucy, I said, "You girls enjoying yourselves? It's pretty wild up here." "Yeah, it's cool," Elena said. "We were thinking of picking up speed on the next part. You up for that, Alex?" She knew I wasn't. I had been half a mile behind them.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.